Hello everyone, welcome to the video. My name is Lucymushroom, and today we're doing a build with Adventure Awaits. Now, when I say that, you're probably thinking that I used a lot of the pack to build this, and actually, really we used the concept of the pack, because this isn't a campground or something like that. This isn't really even a proper getaway or anything like that either. We're actually building a boarding school. I mean, I say it like this, I'm sure you saw from the title. We're building a boarding school that's a castle. And this works in the way that your child sims can come here. But it's not like proper school. So they can do different activities here that we've set up in the schedule, which I will show you probably in part 2. I think there's a section of the video where I actually make the schedule, and I think it's in part 2. But you'll get to see a little bit more of what the students will be doing. Mainly kind of arts and crafts activities, and what I would describe as like sciencey lessons, so more sort of telescopes and stuff like that. But really though, it is a camp in technically what they do, but it's supposed to kind of be like it's a school. Now, of course, this is going to be quite long. I mean, it's 8 hours of total unedited footage, and the speed builds still, well, I should say the speed build, still came to a total of 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I decided it would be better to split this up. There'll be another part that comes out that is the other hour and a half, which I thought was a bit more reasonable. So you're getting, the first part today, which is just under an hour, to see the first part of building this. And already we've made quite a bit of progress in this first couple of minutes. I wanted this to feel very medieval, kind of like it used to be a really beautiful castle that some rich person lived in, and someone came along and decided to turn it into a school. Really, my favourite thing ends up being just this front view, especially with the moat and the bridge. We're just kind of trying to figure out how to connect to the bridge and the front at the moment. I'm struggling a little bit, but once we get the bridge in, especially later on with all the landscaping around the moat and the bridge, it looks so good. I also initially struggled with this colour scheme, because the grey isn't something I've used before. Usually when I've built castles, I've done more of the lighter beige colour, or maybe more of a white. But it's not my personal favourite, the grey, but I think it works for the concept of this building. And it's good to try and make yourself use swatches of things you don't, so I really like how it looks. I think it makes it look even older in some way, and a bit more gothic looking. I guess it would also be a good time to note that although I'm going to hop in and talk over some things in this video, I'm not going to be talking for the full length of time, because I just think that's almost too much. So I'll pop in here and there to share with you, my thoughts on a certain process, but, we're not going to go crazy here, because otherwise I just feel like it'd be a little bit too much to hear me talking for that long. And I don't even know if I have that much I can think of to say, so Yeah, so working out this particular roofing section was pretty annoying because it sort of wasn't wide enough on this top part, and so everything I tried to do just looked really weird. I was using a reference picture for this, but I can't. It's like a picture of a real, not like a proper castle, but like a really old building. But I think somewhere it was somewhere in the UK. I found it on Pinterest. But the rest of the building, I didn't use a reference for. I just kind of went for a basic, like, you know, this is a castle kind of thing, or at least maybe not your typical kind of castle. You'll see when we get to the dorms. Like the dorm building, which also has one of the main classroom in it, ends up being like this massive, like a really tall building, and maybe not very realistic for a normal castle, but it was a bit more functional that way. And I think the building ends up looking good once I figure out like the roofing for it. But this bit was weird, and initially I had no idea what I was going to put in that top section of this particular building, and it ended up becoming the head teacher's room. So you'll have to wait and see when we start decorating that. And as you can see now, we're kind of just working on this moat, because initially I was going to have it go around quite a lot of the castle, and then I realised this lot isn't as big as it feels like it needs to be for this kind of concept. So I realised I was going to have to reduce the moat to allow myself some more actual building space. Which sucks because I do love the moat, but I think in the end we get a really good balance of how much should be moat and how much should be actual usable lot space. It'll work out in the end is what I'm basically saying. You've got to trust the process. I do like these walkways too. Technically they're a little bit pointless. They don't actually really serve that much purpose in the actual, in terms of using the building, I feel, because a lot of the entrances are almost from the courtyard anyway, like the main courtyard that we haven't even built yet. But I mean, it looks nice. It serves some purpose. It's just like not the most usable space. I almost thought about putting some more like usable things in those little walkways, but then decided that hey, it should probably be better that your Sims can just move about. I had to try and tread a really careful line here of not over cluttering, and I think actually this style of build really allows for that, with the fact that a lot of it is very dark and you can fill up a lot of spaces with candles. Honestly, a lot of those like candle sort of items were used, and I think having those darker corners of rooms really allows you to have rooms that aren't quite as full as maybe you'd want them to look. But it works because it's supposed to be this, you know, creepy old castle. You don't want it to be really bright and full of things. Like, you kind of want it to be a little creepy and a little unsettling. And here you can see my classic fear of buildings looking too flat. I mean, obviously when you have such a big building like this, and it's going to be even taller, okay, I add to this and I make it taller. Yeah, it's just, there's nothing worse than it just being so flat. And the thing is, you see it in real life, you see these buildings have these massive flat walls with nothing on them, like maybe one random window in the top center right. But, you know, and you're used to it and it doesn't really bother you as much, I feel. I mean, I feel like it does bother me, really. But for the most part, it doesn't really bother you to see it. But especially in this game, when you have, like, a massive blank wall, like, no shape to it, it's just flat. There's just something about it that's horrible. You know, it just looks especially, ugh. And I have to, like, do something about it. Also, you can see me struggle here with roofing. All of the weird shaped roofs didn't work. They look too weird. I mean, look at that cone. Oh my god, it's hideous. And I ended up settling on just like the castle fencing because I was like, god, nothing looks good here. And I'm glad I did because it makes way more sense. I mean, it's, again, it's supposed to be a castle. The more of the roofs that we have like that, the better, really. You want to have like a good mix between normal roofs and castle roofs. I should apologise now, really, that there's going to be a lot of moving about in this build. I mean, it's such a huge build, and you'd think it would be easier to focus on one bit at a time, but I really am not good at that. When I'm building something like this, I mean, when I'm building in general, I just want to jump around and do things as my brain thinks of them. Because otherwise I think, oh, I'll add this in this space, and then I forget and I never go back to it. So I mean, I kind of jump around and do what feels right. And I guess for the start of any build, you kind of want to get a layout for the place anyway. But even then, I was just kind of having fun with it and doing what felt right in the moment. I mean, again, I haven't even finished that other building, and I'm just trying to focus on the floors of the courtyard. But you've got to think about the stuff eventually, and I guess if you don't have a shape for the build, it's really hard to continue building. So it's not completely ridiculous, but you know, it's quite a lot of jumping, and I do realise that. My cat is snoring, and I have to record this for you guys. Hold on. I have no idea if my microphone was actually able to pick that up, so I'm quite looking forward to listening back to that and realising she sleeps in a cat bed that's right above my my setup, so I'm just here listening to her snoring right now, and it's so cute. I love her so much. My cat's called Cleo, by the way. She's a tabby. Oh my god, I can't speak. She's a tabby cat. In a lot of my videos, you can see like a little pixel drawing I did of her. So feel free to go and have a look at that if you're curious of what she looks like. She's so beautiful. I could cry. Well, now what I'm doing here might look kind of weird if you don't build too much, but and again, people probably do this a lot better than I do. I think there's still like a little bit wrong with this, the way I've done it, but I'll explain anyway. I've sorted out some of the roofing so that it's not clipping as much on the inside, because I made it also just a bit bigger in general. But if you do want to have like rooms that are in, you know, say like you're having like an attic room, okay, you know, at the top of the house in a roof, and you still want it to be functional, you still want to be able to see into the room, you can do all these separate roofing parts to be able to achieve that. But it is quite fiddly, and you do end up with like so many different roof pieces, but you can do that. There still might be like a little bit of roof visible, and you'll be able to see when we do eventually go upstairs and we start furnishing that head teacher's room. You'll see that there are some parts that clip, but I think it's worth it to be able to still use the space, at least in my opinion. This actually is probably one of my favourite kits. Looking at the stained glass windows, it's like, oh my god. The thing is, sometimes I find it hard to like match some of the stained glass just with the other windows, and you'll realise when I do the dorms, I try to use 2 different kinds of stained glass windows, and I don't think it always worked, because sometimes the you know, outer like frame around the window was a different colour to the other one I'd used, which is a little bit silly looking from the outside, but I ended up realising that, for me at least, that it was worth it, just for the story of having the different coloured stained glasses for the different sort of dorm rooms. Like, they're kind of, I see them as like houses, so I feel like they would be kind of those different colours. But I do love that in this kit, normally it's kind of hard to build kits because you never really get quite enough windows and doors to kind of make a house that feels like it's varied enough, like there's enough going on, because you don't want to use the same window everywhere. That just always ends up looking ridiculous. But with this kit, I think with the stained glass options as well, there really just is so much variety. Like, obviously it's a castle build kit, you can build castles with it, you know, but really it just allows for, you know, just so many different ways to build a castle, and it's probably one of the best kits at just doing what it says on the tin. Like, this is, you can build really cool looking castles with this, and I think it's not something I ever initially thought, oh god, we really need to have a pack that allows us to build castles, but it's one of just the coolest, I think, kits they've done. And bear in mind, I'm not really a big fan of kits in general. They're far too expensive for the items you get. But I think something like this, if you're the kind of person who loves, you know, olden styles, like medieval stuff, I just bet you had a field day with this kit, and I love that. I love that it does something so specific that no other pack really delivers on as much. And there's so much that goes with it. I feel like if you had this kit and the base game, and all you really cared about was these older buildings, you'd be fine. There's so much stuff in the base game where it's very olden style anyway, like A lot of the sofas are like really fancy. There's really fancy looking curtains. Like you can use, you can make really cool castles with this kit in the base game, and it's easy. You don't need any other packs for it. Certain other packs do go really well with it. Like I used quite a lot of life and death in this build, because they have very sort of olden style furniture. But really, you can. It's so cool that the pack is so useful in that, because sometimes a pack will be almost too specific that it's not usable anywhere else. And yeah, like this kit, you know, this kit's fiddling castles, but at least it goes really well. If that's all you want to do, like you've got loads of options. I know I'm kind of rambling here, but I just think out of all the kits, like this one, it really does do what it sets out to do really well. So I think probably building castles is one of my favourite things to do because of it now. I just think it's so, I say now like I built any castles before then, but it's so fun to build, even if it's like a little mini castle for your sim to live in. Like I did that for a save ages ago, and in fact that build ended up being one that little Simsy toured as part of a shell building tour, which was so cool. But it's so fun to have your sim live in a little castle, and I think being to bring my child sims here to go to school here is going to be so fun. Like I am honestly so excited for that. And in fact, speaking more about how that's going to work, I mean, as I said before, it's less of a summer camp situation and more of like the way I'm going to use it is like, you know, certain weekdays I'll always bring them here, because if you're not aware, the way the pack works is that you can have your sim go here but then still go back to the normal family and be able to keep playing as the other sims and just have your sim be here. They only build skills when you're here with them, but you can have that storyline going that oh yeah, this kid's gone to boarding school, and you don't have to be with them playing as them the whole time, which I think is a really cool thing. They just won't gain anything if you leave them there, but I'm just excited for the gameplay of that so bad. Like I really want to have my child come here and make friends and do some of the activities here, and then still go to normal school on certain days of the week. So I was kind of thinking maybe the beginning of the week they come here like Monday to Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday they go to their normal school, just so that they still build the same like school grade that I want them to. And they'll have to be very studious to be able to keep up and get a really good grade anyway, so maybe that will get me to be better at doing the projects and stuff, just to make sure they still get like an A grade in school. So I think if you really want to have a sim, like maybe you're planning to have this sim eventually go to university when they're older and stuff, like this is like a good storyline to be like, oh, look at the education they got into beforehand, you know, this sim has always been very studious and very into learning because they went to the school that was very much focus on that. And obviously again, it's more about the story. They're just going to be doing like activities here, but it's still fun, and like you can really gear it up to what you want that sim to do, which I think is cool as well. So it works for whatever story you're trying to tell. And I love the idea of all the different places you could build with this pack. It's so cool. I've got so many ideas. But already this particular idea took me ages, so I'm excited to get to some gameplay, which is why I've been desperate to try and get this finished, because we did a little bit of gameplay on stream, and I really want to play some more, but I want to send my sim here, so I had to wait. I had to be quite patient. But now I probably should get back to what we're actually doing in the build. This area that I'm doing right now, this is going to be the dining hall and kitchen. The telescopes are going to be above this area, where those stairs are leading to, where they'll sort of have like a maybe kind of science class. Like, there's going to be some science tables in that tiny little room up there. What do I end up working on next? Finally we're like working on the moat. See, you're gonna get the vision here when I finally do this not the moat, sorry, the bridge for the moat, but I was so excited when I saw, like, when I finally came back to this and did it. I was so excited because look at that. Does that not look so cool? It is actually a bridge. But yeah, I was very excited by that. It is interesting looking back on this because I guess it's hard. It's quite hard to get the scale of the actual building because so much of it is like, you know, the walkways and stuff like that, and that the actual building itself isn't really that big when you really put it all together. Like, you know, it's not really as massive as you think it would be, which I think is kind of what I was going for anyway, because I love the idea always of these massive lots, but they never end up being that functional for me as a player. I almost feel like my computer really struggles, honestly, with lots that are really huge, with so much stuff going on. And in fact, I don't even know what it's going to be like for me playing here myself, especially with the amount of Sims that I've got for this. Like, we've got, I think it ended up being, how many students? 14, and I could have remembered that wrong, so excuse me if I'm wrong there, but I think roughly 14 or 12 to 14 students or something. We'll have to check when we go back to that schedule and we actually set up that schedule. But you know, that with the staff as well, like we've got like five members of staff, I think. That's quite a lot of Sims, and I don't really know how well my computer is going to do with that, to be completely honest. That's just going to be a case of figure it out when we actually get there, but hopefully it runs well, and if it doesn't run well for me, hopefully it runs well for any of you that end up downloading it, better than I do anyway. At least better than it works for me anyway. You can see, as I was talking there, we put in a basketball court. This was just kind of almost a placeholder because I knew obviously we'd have the play area stuff coming out with the pack. And in fact, I should say the reason why you're not seeing any schedule or anything like that here is because I started this build before the pack came out, because I was so excited for the pack. So this was like preemptive. I knew I was going to want to have a boarding school, so I started building it. So this first day of building, I didn't have the actual stuff from the kit to add in, and I knew I was gonna want it, so I thought, hey, let's put the basketball kit here, and if I end up deciding I don't really want to put the new stuff, you know, the new playground kit here, no, sorry, I totally said that wrong, not the new playground kit, but you know what I mean, like the new playground like stuff, you know, from the pack here, then I could just keep the basketball. But of course it's new stuff and I was very excited to use it, so I did use it here. You'll have to wait and see further into the video. This space will become a playground, and there'll be another little playground that goes around the side there, by the fence. I end up moving those monkey bars. So we have like this main sort of playground, and we'll have a little mini playground That's just some separate swings and slides and monkey bars. This area is going to be sort of like, say if they had PE lessons, they'd have the swimming pool, and I think I did put in some space for PE, just for some physical activities. So I did try doing an indoor pool, and that's what you're seeing right now, like a screened in pool, because I thought that this is a fancy place, they'd probably have that, they'd probably have a screened in pool, but it just kind of looked sort of weird, and I couldn't really get the right windows for it, because these screen ones, like with the size walls that I have, it just didn't work. I could have tried to lower the pool into the ground, but I don't know, I just decided it wasn't really worth doing, wasn't really worth the stress. And here we have the difficulty again of not having the stuff from the kit. No, oh my god, I keep saying kit now. Why do I? Oh my! I shouldn't have even brought up kits earlier. The stuff from the pack yet, because I didn't really fully know what to put here. Because it really helps with the pack being able to look down the actual schedule activities and decide that way what places you wanted to build to accommodate that, because obviously you don't want to build this whole area and then it not be an activity on the schedule, because yeah, maybe your Sims would do it, but I feel like it's kind of unlikely at that point. So I was a bit stuck of like what to put in certain areas. I think I probably end up leaving that outdoor area kind of empty for a while because of that, so you'll kind of have to wait and see what I end up putting there. But it does end up being the archery from the pack, but you just wait and see until I actually put it in. And now we're getting into really one of my favourite parts of the build in general. I don't know if I end up fully like starting it here because I'm just doing the windows for this area, but this very weirdly shaped kind of turret of the castle ends up being a massive library. And I mean, like, you have each of these floors end up being a part of the library, other than like the topmost floor. That when you are up there, you can just look down on the library, but it's so cool. And we'll have like a ladder coming up to it, but it will be really annoying if your Sims use the ladder, so I am so sorry in advance. I can't remember if I actually blocked it off or not. I remember thinking that I was gonna block it off, but honestly I'm not sure if I actually did. So if your Sims end up using that ladder all the time and you're finding it super annoying, you could just put enough stuff around it and they should be blocked from using it, so they won't autonomously do it. And I'd suggest putting stuff at the top too, just in case. Like, there shouldn't be any issues. If they can't get through both ways of the ladder, I don't think they should be able to even attempt it, so you should be good. But see here, I'm trying to do like the platform and to go around that the ladder's going to lead up to. But honestly, I found this part really fiddly to do, and there was probably a much easier way of doing it, but I also didn't know how much of this I wanted to be like sort of this platformed area, this decking really. So there's definitely easier ways to do this, and I keep coming back and adjusting it, so be ready to be annoyed by that. But here's the ladder going in, and when we finally get the books on the walls for this, just beautiful. I've actually done it in a house before. I mean, we're in the life and death world right now, and in fact I probably should have mentioned that at the start and maybe not half an hour in, but if you didn't notice, we are in the life and death world, and in fact you can see the name of the place here, Hay Hill Landing. It's sort of that farm. I think it's empty by default. I'm pretty sure I didn't have to get rid of anything. It's this empty kind of farm lot in that farm, sort of like countryside area of the map. And I thought it was going to be a lot harder to think of where I wanted to build this, but then when I found this, like, it was probably first or second lot I went onto. And I kind of thought, like, this is the kind of place where you'd find this old castle. It's not the sort of place you'd normally find a boarding school. Although, actually, you know what? In the UK, probably, you see lots of old sort of schools just in the middle of nowhere. So, it's not too out of the realm of possibility. But I just knew that this area just made so much sense for a castle to be. Because I initially almost built it on that certain lot in Life and Death that's a bit more in the city. Although I shouldn't say city, it's more of a town. But it's that one. I've actually built like a really fancy mansion home on that before, and it's already got like a mansion on it. But that area makes sense for a castle 100%. But I thought I built there before, and I kind of wanted to build somewhere I hadn't really built before yet. And I mean, this lot just made so much sense. As you can see here, I'm adding that extra floor that I talked about at the beginning. It is going to make everything look kind of weird for a bit, because this building almost looks like it's too big to be a part of it. But once we have, and again, it took me a while to do this, but eventually I'll put a roof on here, and it does, I think, end up working a lot better. Oh, my cat just turned around just to sit and stare at me. She's like still got her eyes closed though. I shouldn't say staring. She just kind of decided to turn around and face towards me with her eyes closed. She looks very calm though. It's actually like 2 a.m. for me, so it's making me feel really tired. Makes me really want to get snuggled in bed. Oh, she's so cute, and you can't even see her. Oh. Now, these rooms that I'm setting up right now are going to end up being the dorm rooms, and each floor has its own bathroom situation. But these will be separate dorms on these upper floors, and then the downstairs will be the classroom. At least the arts and classroom. I just said arts and class. You can really tell it's 2 a.m. No, arts and drama classroom, and music as well. It's really like a just general creative skills. Oh, and here we are trying to figure out the entrance to the head teacher section. And I think at some point soon as well, I'm going to realise that I need some space for the other staff members. So I build like a basement, and we have the entrance to that in this lobby area too. Thing is, it's not like you can, at least I don't think you can like assign beds, but I'm not sure how it works assigning bed for the staff, and I don't know if the head teacher will definitely just come and stay in this area, so you'll just have to see what happens, you know. If they don't and it kind of annoys you because random staff are up here, like you could always just take away the door for this apartment bit and just have it be like kind of for show, and then just add like another single bed to the basement rooms if you really wanted to, like if that aspect of it was annoying you. Bear in mind, I just haven't really played much with the pack yet, so I don't know how feasible it is to get staff to stay where you want them to stay, so I can't say for sure how that works. So you'll just have to adjust it if it doesn't really work for you. God, I'm realising just how much I fiddle with this whole basement thing. I'm moving it so much, and I'm not done yet, so is this the final time I move it? I guess who's to say. I end up trying to hide the entrance to the staffers area, and I think I end up doing it with an archway but like some curtains around it, so it kind of looks a little less just like a room to the basement and more like an intentional design choice. Although bear in mind, you won't see me actually design this lobby space for a while, because I swear it ends up being like the last thing I do, because I guess I don't really fully know what I wanted to put in there anyway. But in the next part, because I think I'm still just gonna upload this as like 2 parts, the second part just being a lot longer, but in that next final part you'll see that I can't even remember what I was saying. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the lobby. Totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, you'll see that I waited to do the lobby, so it was literally the last thing I did. I did landscaping, at least the terrain paint, and then I decorated the lobby pretty much. See, and at this bit, I got super excited because I was like, oh my god, chandeliers and candles. Because that's when you really start seeing the idea of it come along, is when you start putting in those bits of lighting. Because lighting makes such a huge difference. Like, if I couldn't control the lighting, if all the lights sort of had that same kind of whiteness to them, every room was like that bright white of like the spotlights, it just would be rubbish. Like, this build would be ruined. Genuinely. You need that warm lighting to be able to get this olden feel to everywhere. That was honestly my main thing that I was excited about. So when I first started putting in the candle items and the chandeliers and all that, like the excitement was so real. I was like, this is genuinely perfect. It could be like terrible, and just because of the lighting, it's like, boom, this is good now. Also, I know some of those cubicles almost look a bit too modern, but my idea of it is that maybe, you know, and to be honest, all of the bathrooms in this place have been renovated, and they still look a little crappy, but like to the point of they've been recently done up with modern plumbing, because I like the idea that maybe it used to be these really old and really just awful bathrooms that then somebody came and modernised when they updated this school to be, well, when they updated this castle to be a school. So yeah, they still don't look amazing, but that's why, at least in my mind, they have some of those really modern looking cubicles, because at the end of the day, we can't have these really medieval bathrooms for an actual school. Like, they need to have places they can use. And already, having the trees makes such a difference. You just get the vision so much more upon adding in the trees. Like, it's really coming together now. Oh, actually, as we're coming to the end, we've only got like a short amount of time left. I should mention this, and I probably should have mentioned this before, but I want to make it very clear. I built this because I just love old castles, and it being a boarding school is really fun because kids don't really have that much for them. But this is nothing to do with Harry Potter. It's not a magic school, it is just a regular school that is built in a medieval castle. Please do not compare it to Harry Potter, because as you may or may not know, the author of those books, and I'm not even going to say her name because she doesn't deserve that, she's a very horrible person. She's disgusting. So we don't care about her. I built this to be a fun kind of castle and nothing to do with her. But ending on that quite depressing note, this is the end of the first part of our haunted, or not haunted, medieval castle boarding school. Kind of a long name. I'm really excited for you guys to see like the end of this. Again, I'm still pretty sure I'm just going to post the next part being like an hour and a half of the final building of it. Mostly it will be furnishing because we've done the majority of the actual building of the place. But that's going to be super fun. I really hope you tune in. I'm so proud of this build. Honestly, it ends up being like one of my favourite builds I've ever done. It's really, really cool. So, thank you so much for watching. Like and comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear what you think, and if you're excited to see the next part of this building. Have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. Bye bye.